Welcome back, everyone. And here's to the start of our first full week together. Before we start today's new lesson, I want to ask you to complete this do now. You're going to be looking at two expressions to compare. And when you simplify the left using order of operations and you simplify the right side using order of operations, you'll compare and put a less than, a greater than, or an equal to sign in between each. So please do those now. Now, as you recall from last week in our live in-class lessons, I always stop, let you try the problems, and then I ask for you to help. Since this is a video today, I will do the work, but you can be sure during our Zoom lesson, as well as in person, I'll be asking for your input. Looking back to my rules of order of operations, I want to multiply. Again, I'm going to ignore the right side. I'm just going to look at this left side. I see a multiplication, so I am going to start with multiplying. 15 times 3 will give me 45. And then 45 minus 2 is 43. I'm going to be comparing that in just a moment to this side. I'm going to do what's in parentheses first. And I'm going to get 15 times 1, because 3 minus 2 is 1. And I'm going to get a simplified version of 15. 43 is greater than 15. So we're taking what we learned about using order of operations and our left to right rule, and now we're applying it to something a little bit more in-depth, comparisons. Number 2, I see subtraction and multiplication. My rules tell me I should multiply first. I'm going to subtract. I'll get 8. In a moment, I'll be comparing that to the next side, where I'm going to simplify what's in here first. So that's going to be 22 minus 7, which will be 15, times 2, which is 30. And my statement now will say that 8 is less than 30. Now, I'm doing these mentally or with paper and pencil. You can check it with a calculator if you feel you should. Last one. So, a subtraction and an addition, but my left to right rule tells me to go this direction first. I'm going to get 16 plus 2, which simplifies now to 18. Let's compare that to, let's do parentheses first. That's going to give me 17 minus 3 is 14. And when I simplify, 18 equals 18. We're going to be talking about ways to write equivalent expressions, and this is just a good warm-up of that. Before we start today's lesson, here's another way to look at our recent topic. Which expression has a value of 18? A, B, C, or D? Take a moment, and how will you find out? By performing order of operation on all four, making sure that one of them actually comes out to 18. Every once in a while, the problem like this might have none of the above, so try these out. Now I'm going to give the answer to this during the live session, because we will have a Zoom session today during period 2. So if you got up this morning and you already started this, you'll have a heads up. If not, we'll do it together in our Zoom lesson. The last question, and again, I'll come back to give the answer to this later on, would be another type of question that you might encounter. And in this one, I'm going to ask you, what is the value of this expression? 8 times 5 minus 3 times the quotient of 24 divided by 6. I'm doing, again, an order of operations to find out what the answer is. Copy down the problem, find your answer, and the answer will be revealed during the Zoom lesson. So now that we've gone over a little bit of our order of operations from previous lesson, let's look at our goals for today. Today we want to talk about evaluating expressions. To evaluate a variable expression, we're going to substitute or replace each variable with a number and simplify using order of operations. So here is our goal for the day, and let's test it out. We are going to take out this 4 and replace it into the expression. That's going to be 5 times 4 minus 2. Now that I have taken the variable out and replaced it with a given value of 4, I have a numeric expression that I can simplify using order of operations. I'm going to multiply, I'm going to subtract, and the answer is, if you said 18, you are correct. Again, as we mentioned in class, when we're done with a problem, we might, in our live lessons or in-person lessons, say, do you agree or disagree? Do you accept what you see, or do you want to challenge it? And again, if I make an error, I ask for you to show me that same respect. And that's how we'll learn. Here's another step-by-step so that this way, if this wasn't a topic that was good for you in the past, maybe you can see it again step-by-step to see how it goes. I'm starting off with this expression, 4y minus 15. I want to evaluate it by taking in this value of 9 and replacing it where the y is. So now I've color-coded it to show you that the y, which is blue, is going to be replaced with this value 9. I will then have 4 times 9, which is 36. And then what am I going to do with that? I'm going to subtract 15 from that. So 36 minus 15 will give me 21. Okay. Time for you to try. The first one has just one variable. The second one has 2. I'm just seeing if I have a third, just 2. Okay. Try these 2. Pause, try them, and then join me to see how you did. It's very important when you're doing work for me to show all your work. As we've learned by our in-person class, if you show your work and we do not agree, we can go back and see how we differ, and then we can help each other. In this problem, I'm taking the x out and putting 3 in its place. 5 times 3 is 15. 8 times 3 is 24. And again, if you can't do the mental math, you can check it with a calculator. Some people say, well, I have to write it in columns. If you have to write it in a column like this, you can do that as well. Again, what works best for you? That's what I'm trying to find out in these first few classes together. In the second one, again, being sure that I would put the right variable value in, but substituting a 5 for x and a 4 for y. I'm going to get 7 times 5 is 35, and 2 times 4 is 8. Again, think about being sure that you have the right variable in the right place, substituting that for the given values, and then you go ahead and use your order of operations. And if you got 27, then we agree. If we disagree, we'll talk about that during our Zoom session. One more here where I now have 3 variables. We're going to have 3 times 5 times 2 plus 4 times 3. Again, just a little exercise in order of operations and a little computation. Now, community property says I can multiply any way I want on these first three. I might do 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 times 3 is 30, plus 12, and we see that we have 42. There are a couple of problems, word problems that we're going to encounter with this. I'm going to do these together during our Zoom lesson, so these couple slides we will come back to. And until then, I'm going to ask you to meet me up at the Zoom lesson and have a good morning till then. Thanks.